Hey everybody, still here. Daily Market Pulse. It is Tuesday, April 8th, 2014. So we should see market stocks bounce today reasonably well in lower volume, however. So temporary pause, I believe. Maybe kind of one of those buy on the dips. It's actually buy on the rebound, buy on the bounce, or sell on the bounce, I should say. It's quite the opposite. Still bearish environment, I believe. Still in a correction, I believe. No way in any form do we have a bullish signal here necessarily to reverse everything. Doesn't appear very strong, although we've been fooled many times, at least I have. So still looking for the possibility of a big panic sell off, a capitulation, and then of course then the reversal sets in, and then we go from there. So let's take a look at charts. So Dow Jones, of course, after hitting the 16.6 area, of course, has retraced, come back down after the bearish engulfing. That was Friday, Monday, and then today pauses at 16.2, right above the rising 50-day moving average. Room still to 16,000. Room still, of course, a lot deeper. 200-day, lower part of the channel, etc., etc. So still showing reasonable strength here overall. It's the Nasdaq that, of course, remains the weakest of them all. So we'll be focusing on that, of course, as well. But right now, Dow Jones just pausing for the moment anyway at 16,200. The S&P, on the other hand, pausing at the 1835, 1840 area, right of where the 1850-55 area was originally support area. So it's kind of hovering right there at the 50-day moving average as well, which the 50 is also rising ever so slightly. So Dow and S&P quite similar in stature. There's a kind of a pivot low there where the Morningstar formation was in the earlier or mid parts of March as well. Room, of course, to the bottom of the channel still remains 1800. So we got to keep watching for that possibility as well. Now you go to the Nasdaq. This is a little bit different. It's down to the lower part of the main channel as well as the lower part of the descending channel within that channel. So the channel within the channel in red you see there. It's at the bottom of that. That's where the bounce, bull sash formation at that level, including the window that was at level. So 4050 was a window. 4050 was the lower channel on two counts, the rising and the declining. But there's still room to the 200 and the pivot area below. So yes, there's support. Yes, there's a slight bullish candle. Is it enough to bounce higher? It probably can. Question is how high. And then does it reverse and when and how deep? So I don't right now. I wouldn't certainly bet on or count on this being it. The reversal, meaning the correction's over. It wasn't strong enough by any means. I'm looking for something much more volatile, much more powerful, but it may never happen. So with that, the TSX had closed below the 8 moving average yesterday. Closes pretty much right at it. I'm just going to leave the status as below for now. I believe still everything's still kind of on the bearish side. So rather than flip-flopping it around, I don't believe that's really a necessary buy signal just because it's above the 8 moving average at this point. It doesn't look very strong. It still needs to get over the dark cloud cover, in which case I can wait another day. So still looking for the possible support, 14,200, or a break above the dark cloud cover right around 14.5. So we'll see how that goes. Let's take a look at the US dollar, Canadian dollar. It was hanging on reasonably well to 110. Now it's dropped a little bit following the doji yesterday into the next pivot area right below in the 50% retracement as well at 109 and a quarter or so, with room room below, of course, down to the 200, 107 to the 200 moving average at 106 and a half. So the treasuries were up as well. So oddly, the markets were up on a bounce, and the treasuries were up as well. Now it's fading in terms of how big the candles are. Target remains 134. Did not quite reach that yet. So still looking for 134 as a hit and target. We'll see if they can accomplish that in the near future here. I'm sure they can. We'll see what they do tomorrow. Yen was alive. Mentioned the fact that the candles were getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Possible support area through here, mid-range of the green candle, but also the series of lows where the pivot area was with an oversold state. And then you can see there was a little bit of come on now. There's a bump with a bullish engulfing, which was great. It took out 3 candles. It's usually very strong, and then went a little higher to confirm it, and then absolutely blasted off today with room still higher yet. There's still room above. So now it's above the 50, above the 20, with room to the pivot area right across right here. And then, of course, a little higher as well. I'm going to put another one right there. So that's the range, that's the target area we're looking for next, which would coincide pretty closely with the 200-day moving average here as well. So that's a huge move for the yen today. Gold, on the other hand, grinding its way higher. Bullish candle, pause, bullish candle, pause, bullish candle. And coming into the 50, coming to declining 20, coming into the 1320 target and resistance area. And it's right there right now. Not quite yet overbought, but looking like that's the target for now. And silver, kind of the same thing. The gold came off the 1280 support, which was former resistance. Silver has already crossed the 2050, equivalent to the 1280, and faded into 1950, bounced, and looks very similar. Up, sideways, up, sideways, up. So decent there on silver for now. Let's see if they can get this up to 2050, and then maybe 21 going forward. Let's look at crude. CL here after the big push. Very nice day here. Look at this nice rise coming off that. We already had that push with the doji, a push off the lower trend line, the 20-day moving average, across the 8. The 50 and the 20 were in the same vicinity, so nice push today. Very aggressive move. $1 and some change, dollar plus, into almost 103. 103 is the next target area anyway, I thought. And then 105 in particular would be the area where we're looking for next. This is all looking very strong and very good yet to get to those levels still. Let's go to small caps at this point. So small caps looking like some of the others, like the NASDAQ, for instance, which was a channel to the downside, a channel within a channel, right into 112. So the lower part of the channel here, the decline itself. No real window and no real pivot area here either. So looking for a little bit lower, 111, 111 and a quarter, but all the way down to maybe 110, where the 200-day moving averages and the lower trend line happens to be as well. So still room to the downside. So even though there's a bullish candle here, prove it to me. Yes, there's a candle. Yes, there's support in most places, and so that should be enough confirmation. But I don't know. Light volume on a bounce to me is not all that great of a sign. So we'll see what they do here. Let's take a look at the VIX, because the VIX, after popping reasonably well into 16, gapped a little bit on the open, went higher, made a new high today relative to yesterday, and then faded, but still closed above the rising window that was formed yesterday, above the 20-day and the 200-day moving averages as well. So it's still a little bit of fear involved, but certainly not completely gone either on this little bounce. It looks to me like this is just kind of setting itself up to go back to 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, maybe even 21. And that's kind of what I'm looking for in terms of, I'd like to see finally some kind of real, true correction, capitulation, and panic sell. Not seeing it, have not seen it for a while. That's because it's been such a massively bullish run. It's more like dips, almost excessive dips. But anyway, that's where we're at.